Welcome to Millennial Intent Conversations That Matter. I'm your host, Jay Cherish. I want to give it up for my co host and the co founder of Millennial Intent, Dame Deity. Hey, Dame.
Hey.
All right. So we're going to get into conversation. This is what let's wait a minute. Let's introduce ourselves to the people. So we just want to let you know this is Millennial Intent Conversations That Matter. And we're talking about conversations that matter in the community, not just for millennials, but for everyone. So welcome to Millennial Intent. Welcome. So let's get into our first conversation this week. It's vote, vote, vote. It's all about the vote. If you haven't voted today for the early voting, you have to wait to the primary, which is November 5th. And we want to talk about the two greater evils. We got Donald Trump, Donald J. Trump, and Kamala Harris, Kamala D. Harris. So let's get into it. Dan, what do you think about this election so far?
I think a lot of people are skipping the polls, but this is an important election, and we all need to put our 2 cents in, especially those of us that are of age. Even, the local matters. There's some serious things on the ballot that we need to be paying attention to. I haven't always been an avid voter, but these are serious matters, and we need to put our opinion. We need to stand up and be counted. So go vote, y'all.
I agree. And I mean, as a millennial myself, it's just getting to the point where we're at that age where we have kids, we're working, we're buying homes, and we really want our voices to be heard. And especially with the type of topics that are in the media, I feel like it's skewed, especially toward minorities and getting celebrities involved. And there's a lot of things going on, but I feel like it's really distracting us from the main point, in which is the economy and what each politician represents. So I kind of want to get into that because I feel like, especially with the Democratic Party, they're really big on celebrities right now. And they're really big on using, Hollywood to get their point across. And, once a politician gets in office, they forget all about our votes and they go on their way. So I really want to dig deep into this really good because a lot of times they say, go vote. And you're voting for a person you really don't know what they represent. You don't know anything about the ballot. You haven't looked anything up. And you're just doing what everybody's pressuring you to do. But what are you voting for is really key for me. So, what do you think about the different policies? I kind of wanted to go over a couple of them
Okay, go ahead
that
and go over them.
the Trump campaign said and the Harris campaign.
Mhm.
And a lot of this, I'm going to speak on the behalf of the Harris campaign right now. Um, a lot of things she said that Donald Trump wants to unlock power. He wants to eliminate the Department of Education. He's going to bring up a lot of the racial gaps. He's going to make it worse, especially with the economy, the wealth gap for minorities. It's also they're saying that he really refused to support minorities in business. And what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, Miss Harris has already been in office for 4 years, and this is honestly the first time I've really seen her. So we're talking about Donald Trump, but ma'am, you've already been in office for 4 years, and all the things that she's claiming that she could have done, why hasn't she already done them, or why hasn't she already started to do them? That's my first question. Um, I feel like I'm not necessarily a Donald Trump fan or anything like that. I really hate to, I'm looking to the people who are addressing the issues that we have. And unfortunately, Donald Trump during his during his presidency was handed a whole pandemic. Um, I don't think there's too many ways it could have been done better, because that's not something that really happens. Sometimes these are once in a lifetime events at that particular scale. But she's making her claims, and yet I've failed to see what she's done to help Black people while she's already been there. This is the most I've seen her in the entire 4 years that she's already been in office. So I'm just curious as to how she's going to suddenly um, do all these things that she's claiming she's going to do. I also have my issue with Black voters, that people will vote anybody specifically because of skin color, when
Yeah.
we all know that all skin folk are not kinfolk. So we really have to stop being blinded by the whole skin color agenda, the whole blacks and browns versus this kind of thing, because everybody is not who they claim they are. These
Hmm.
people claim that they're minorities just to get your vote. And then every time they get in there, they do a lot of the opposite. We even saw some of that during the Obama administration. People like to say, oh, well, Obama did this for blacks and low minorities. But if you really look at it, for the minorities and people of lower income, a lot of his policies, um, they really gave us a hardship. You'll know that if you had any issues with Obamacare, if you were taxed, the $500 was taken out of your taxes, different things like that, we were hit directly. So I'm not saying that he was necessarily a bad president. I'm just saying that one thing was said before going into office, and then when the person was in office, it wasn't that, and it most definitely did not help the low income people like it was promised.
Hmm.
So guys, we're gonna have to get as close as we can, because like you said, which is which, like it's like Scooby-Doo. We're not gonna know until we get in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that a lot of, especially in the minority community, they like, what did the young kids say? Like Barack Obama has, and what Kamala, sorry, has is the Riz. And a lot of times we get we we get it caught up with the agenda because they're cool, they're at the cookout, and we forget about this is their job. Their job is to win elections, but they use your vote. But then it doesn't just stop at your voting on November 5th. It also starts when you're voting people in the House and the Senate and your local government.
Mm-hmm.
And we after the election, people forget about that. And
Mm-hmm.
who are they putting in positions of power after the election house? And I feel like the Democratic Party especially uses minority
Mm-hmm.
as a power thing. And before that, there's nothing really put in place for these minorities once you get in office. So you
Absolutely.
use it as your marketing strategy. Um, you bring out Beyonce, you bring out, all the Hollywood people of influence, and then you want the vote, but then you don't forget about the policies. You put like there was one policy I know that they were putting, she said that they were putting in place about, hold on, let me, sorry, I want to pull it up because I like to be accurate. She's going to be signing a law for George Floyd that's going to hold cops accountable. And I know there is a lot of backlash saying, okay, the Biden
Wasn't
administration,
George Floyd on meth? Like, are we still on that?
Well, this is part of their campaign. They sent it out and they
Like,
said
I'm
they're
not
going to
saying
put,
anybody deserves to die, and there definitely needs to be a retraining of the police
yeah,
department
there does.
because I did watch the video of that man passing away, and clearly you can see something is wrong with him. So obviously there's an issue with being able to detect whether somebody is on something and to maybe, um find a better way to de-escalate the situation, because nobody deserves to die that way. However, I'm not understanding why we are um, martyring uh, people who otherwise are not the best. I don't feel like it should. There are plenty of people that have gotten killed that could be better suited to be martyred than George Floyd. I don't understand what we're doing.
I
No
just,
shade to the family,
yeah.
respect to the family, all of that. I don't think this is it. I think we need to move on.
Well, and maybe there needs to be another name, but there is an
I
issue
agree.
in the policing, and there needs some to be some type of sensitive, some type of training with the police officers on how to handle people that do not look like you. I know that there's something that needs to be in place.
Mm.
However, the Biden administration has been in office in the last 4 years, and we need to think about these questions. Once you get our vote, what are you going to do next? Let's not
Nothing,
make
because
this
they
a
already had it
campaign.
before.
You're on the Biden. I'm sorry.
I said not too much of nothing because what y'all been doing in there, Sleepy Joe been asleep.
Well, it's time to Sleepy Joe to wake up. And it's like, I
He
know
tired. He
Kamala is
tired,
saying,
bro.
she's just vice president, but you're
Just the vice
still, that's
president.
still your, can,
Okay.
that's still your administration. So,
Right, right.
and I mean that there's so much to go. And I hear a lot of a back about, especially Donald Trump being racist. And then because we're not
Before
on,
you get on that, I just want to go back to the celebrity thing. I
yeah,
really think that there needs to be a clause where celebrities are not allowed to uh, voice their personal opinion until after the election.
yeah.
I don't want to hear from Beyonce. No shade to Beyonce. I don't want to hear from Cardi B. I don't want to hear any of that.
Hmm.
Today's kids are heavily influenced. Excuse me, not even kids. Today's people are heavily influenced by their favorite actors and actresses. And these people have no knowledge of how the Senate works. No more. No more,
Not
if
even
not
that. They
less. They're
don't really, they're
completely
in a different tax bracket.
exactly. They're completely removed from the same issues that govern me and you.
Yeah.
These people are so high up that you're not going to get the same chances that they're going to get. So I don't think it's fair that they get to voice their opinions and that get to show up. Megan Thee Stallion, all these people. I don't think it's fair that they get to show up to these rallies to
Mhm.
influence people. The same thing with Kid Rock and all those things.
Yeah.
I don't think any of those people should be able to be there in that regard. You need to be quiet until the election is over. I'm not saying celebrities do not have a right to have an opinion. I just, however, believe that you are not allowed to voice your opinion. Elon Musk, none of those people should be allowed to say anything because people need to come up with their own personal opinions based on the people that are running. The only people I want to hear from are Mr. Trump and Miss Harris. I don't want to hear from nobody else and the people that they're campaigning with.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
And I agree. I just feel like a lot of the star power, they get people to vote, and it's pressure. It's like peer pressure. It's like bullying right now. It's like you
Yeah.
don't vote for who we want you to vote for, then you're not a part of the club. Like I saw one clip saying, well, if you vote for Trump, you're no longer black and we're not going to shake your hand. Or if you vote for
I
Kamala
don't touch people anyway, so you're fine. We're good.
or you vote for Miss Harris, you're against Christianity and you want to kill children. So I mean, it's so much
Wow.
going
I'm gonna
on.
pray for you, but I'm not hurting any children.
Well, that there was some jokes about that too. I will pray for you, but we would no longer be friends. And I feel like this country or this just culture has this way of saying instead of us to agree to disagree of who you want
Right.
to vote for, because it really doesn't matter who you vote for as long as you vote. You use that, people have died for you the right to vote. Go vote. And whoever you vote with, it's that's your prerogative. Like it doesn't matter. But you making people with using celebrities to making you sway their way. Well, I'm going to endorse Donald Trump. Then you're making people want to feel like to vote for Donald Trump. Or if you want, so I just feel like there's so much pressure now. I know you want the kids to get excited, and they only feel like they'll get excited. They'll see Meg or Cardi out there voting, but you're not giving them an opportunity to educate them on the information. And that's the part you have to do yourself. You gotta, nobody's in, well, I don't get into politics, but you're voting. And then when you mad about their policies and procedures, once they get into play, that's going to affect your real life, then there's an issue. And I'm not really too big on politicians because I really hate the fact that once they do, you get your vote and then they're out of there. So it just gets me. But I do want to talk a little bit more about Donald Trump and Vice President Harris. A lot of the what the people are saying, because I like to look at it, they feel like she's not authentic, and they feel like she's more scripted
I
than
wonder
prepared.
why.
And they feel like with Donald Trump, he's a little more you this is what you get. So why do you think that is? With the polls, they're saying, especially in with black men, they're saying that there's nothing really she can do for black men, and they're not voting for her because she's a woman. And then on the other hand, there's like, if that they're not voting, or they feel like I want to vote for Trump because he's a man, even though he's a fascist or a sexist and all the criminal things he has done. And he's a racist and a bigot. There's all this information that's going out there. No matter if it's true or not, this is how the people are feeling about
I
the
feel like
objective
everybody nowadays likes to throw around sexist, racist, and bigot because, first of all, half of you don't even know how to spell or what those words mean. These are the trigger words of 2024, 2023, going into I don't want to hear it. Anytime you speak about anything, you must be a bigot, you must be homophobic, you must be any of those things. Anytime you disagree with something,
Mhm.
you're one of those things. Um, I don't even, the authenticity is in the word nowadays because
Mhm.
we're no longer using those words to the way that they're supposed to. Imagine thinking that securing your borders means that you're a bigot. That's crazy to me. It the two things are they're not going together. Securing your borders does not make you a racist person. And it's crazy to me that people go after America for securing their borders, but you cannot go into a lot of the other countries as freely as you can come in here. As soon as America says, okay, we really need to get tough on immigration, there's an issue. I'm not, the math doesn't math to me.
Yeah.
As far as Miss Harris, you can tell that this is a person that only picks up her brown card when it works for her. We know that it's not authentic. This is her pandering, just like when what was it, the rally the other night. And as soon as she, as soon as whoever would that comedian said whatever he said, oh yeah, I saw what he said. Whenever the comedian said whatever he said, oh well, Latinos, you deserve better. But you weren't talking to Latinos before then.
Mhm. And I think they both pander to whatever way they're trying to get their votes. And I think with Vice President Harris, there's also she stated this, and I agree with her that what does her race have to do anything? And I agree
I
with
agree with
the
that.
race
Yeah,
shouldn't have a factor in
it
anything. If
shouldn't.
she's
She's
black or
right.
brown, that shouldn't be a topic. Her race. And but don't use that, and that's with even with don't use that against her or use it for her when it comes to
Absolutely.
that
I
vote.
agree.
I feel like when it comes to, I don't care if you're black, blue, brown, or yellow, if
Right.
you're coming to do the job, it doesn't matter of the race. However, do not sway ways to gather your agenda to use a race to back you up when you haven't done it before. I understand that as well. But
Yeah.
a lot of the topics they're talking about, especially when it's policies and what are the I like to look at what are the policies. And a lot of the topics, I'm going to just run through a couple of them. It's inflation. They want to talk about taxes,
Hmm.
especially with the housing market, abortion, immigration, foreign policies, trade, climate, healthcare, law and order, gun safety, marijuana. These are the main topics they're talking about right now.
Right.
And a lot of things, there's just like, what are you going to do on inflation? And I
Yeah.
know that this is, if you can go look on their website, inflation, she said that she wants to reduce the food and price of housing costs for working families. She has that background that her father is an educator, and I think she was born in Oakland. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure. Her father is in education, so she's like, I understand middle household earnings. I understand that because my parents had that, educational salary, and she wants to increase and raise the minimum wage. However, how are you going to reduce food pricing and housing? So Donald Trump's, on the other hand, said that to reduce inflation, he believes that you need to drill for more oil to lower energy costs. That's going to help with inflation and end inflation.
Hmm.
Um, he said he'll deliver on his promises as well as with taxes. They say that, they're going to raise the taxes for big businesses in America. And so that can reduce the taxes for middle income families. Now, when you think about raising taxes, let me get to Donald Trump before I ask you that question. He said he's going to cut the taxes for trillions, like he did. He said he extended it in 2017. Well, he cut taxes, which helped the wealthy and the middle class. But when you cut big business taxes, you have to think about it. I'm a business major, and you think about when you cut businesses. What do they do when you cut business taxes? They limit what? Employees.
Right.
And
Everybody
they
getting
increase the
fired.
cost of food and goods because they have to sort somewhere. So you have to think about what is the cause and effect of these things when you're doing it to real American citizens that have to live through it. And what do you think about that? What do you think about those few policies that I just discussed?
I mean, they're all very important. My thing is we're just gonna have to vote and pray and see which one of them is actually gonna follow through with doing, what it is. It's just gonna be difficult. I just wonder, when Miss Harris is talking about, her parents were an educator, but that was still what, 50 years ago? Like, what I hear what they're saying, and they're, oh, well, we're going to reduce this and we're going to do that, but are you really going to do it? Like, what's your actual plan for bringing things current? What's your actual plan for, our school system? We're talking about every agenda except for the things that matter. Absolutely, food prices should be number one, education should be number two, and taxes or whatever the case, it definitely should be in there. But what's the actual plan? Like, what's the game plan?
Exactly. And I feel like they say that in the Biden administration has already been in office for the last 4 years. And have you done this? Because this has been on the agenda and the ballots for the last 48 years. And I mean, I know he's just coming out of the pandemic, but it's really hard out here. I mean, there's millions of people in America that do not have jobs. And you're taking money from average Americans, our tax paying dollars, and we're giving it to other countries. And then you're in office. And what about the people that are in America? What about the students and the families that can't even afford to get? I'm really strong on middle income families because you make too much that you don't get any help, but you don't make enough to stay afloat. So you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're trying to make an honest living and doing it. And they forget about that. And they're always tokening on, okay, middle income families. But what are you really going to do to change from where we already have been? Like since 2020 till now, what is the difference? And I
Hmm.
think we want to see something different. And we're tired of talking. We're tired of voting and there's nothing done. what are you going to do that's different than you've already done? And I think that's a question for most Americans that have an opinion, and they're not just going off of social media. We're just looking at the clickbaits and, oh, she sound good that she roasted him up and all this stuff. No, I want to know the policies and the procedures that you're going to put in place. Like, what are you going to?
Right, right. This isn't a popularity
Yeah,
contest.
it's right now, that's how the media is all about popularity right now. Who's more popular, who's more likable, who's more relatable instead of the policies. And I
Right.
think that's what Americans are getting caught up right now of the like campaign. And if you don't like the person I like, then I don't want to be friends with you anymore. We sound like kindergartners.
Absolutely.
Ah, I'm
Absolutely.
ready for this election to be over with.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think they're trying to figure out who's gonna win, but this is gonna be crazy, and I have a feeling it's gonna be a bit of a whirlwind. It's not gonna be who everybody thinks it's gonna be. So,
I know once Beyonce comes out there, I don't know. I think Vice President Harris might have it in the bag.
well, if she gets it in the bag, she need to do what she say she gonna do.
I really think that the way that I feel like I'm a whole conspiracy theorist. I'm just like, they already have in mind who they want to pick. They just make us believe that.
I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory, but I think you may be on to something. Like I was a believer for a long time that they already know who they want to pick, and we're just the pawns that
We're
believe it.
just the pawns. It's entertainment. It's all media for them. You have us on the TV screen, on the media. It's like when the first COVID shots came out. It was on every freaking channel. I mean, you couldn't turn off the radio, the TV
Mhm,
without seeing get your COVID shot. And now that the pandemic's over, I mean, forcing it down your throat. It's the same thing.
mhm.
Like,
If you
well, this is politics, this is your way, but I feel like you already know what you wanna do, and it's kinda like, we never heard of electoral votes. Like, I mean, you
mhm.
heard it in school, but you never paid attention to the Trump campaign, and you're like, "What is going on?"
So
But
funny.
I don't know, I'm just so
I mean, you're
over.
right. It's just at this point, it's just the
Yeah,
greater of two evils. And with Trump, I don't think necessarily that Trump is a racist. I just know that the people who follow him are definitely are. A lot
yeah,
of them definitely are.
yeah.
And
A lot of
I'm
racism
just
for
saying
sure.
it's the people that he enacts. I think people
Mhm.
think because he's blunt that it automatically means anger. It automatically means I hate black people. It automatically means I hate brown people. When Trump is just like, honestly, I don't like any of you brokies. And this
Well,
is
that's what I said.
what
How can
I
you be
want to
broke and
do.
still vote for Trump, though?
I mean, but
Are you
it's
real?
not work. I mean, we voted for people that looked like us and it didn't work either. Like, let's be real. But nobody wants to say that. I mean, okay. Okay. What do I know?
I mean, he's very popular because of his personality. It's just like, I'm raw. It is what it is. I am who I say I am kind of person. This is what it is. And I think people really gravitate toward that. They like that. They like his honesty. And um, I don't know if we have a little clip. I do want to play this little clip for you. And I do want to get your opinion on this one. And because he has a lot of people that really, really love him, and they stand beside him. What they say, "That's my man, and I stand beside him," and that's what it is. And he has a big following, but can he? They say he's also a criminal, but can he do it again? Like, can he? Why is he still in the president running? Why is he still trying to be back in office unless he wants to eliminate democracy, they say? So it's so much going on. And let's just say, what makes Trump so evil?
It's funny how all of a sudden he's racist and all this stuff, but I remember when rappers back in the day used to always reference Donald Trump. So it's funny to me how somebody you aspired to be for the longest, you now can't stand just because what happened, you know, like half of the rappers are criminals too. I'm confused, but okay. I ain't no fan. I'm just curious.
I feel like everybody has their right to their opinion, but listen to this clip really quick.
The first generation, we love Trump from our bottom of the heart because we know Trump is the only one can save America. Kamala is so stupid. She is so low. IQ equal no Q, no qualification to be the president. You shall stay away from that position. You already lost the position. You lost our trust. You lost our vote. You just need to go home to stay home. You cannot do anything to save America. You are so stupid. You don't know anything. You cannot even answer any question from the camera, from all the media. How you can be on the stage to fight for America, to protect American people, to protect all the world. You are not qualified. You just need to go home.
All right. I'll have to. So she was very passionate about saying that Trump loves Chinese. Kamala uh, is very stupid. Her IQ is low. She has lost their vote. And she said that it's just the IQ level. Now, one thing we can't say about President Harris is she has a low IQ. She's very highly smart. She's a prosecutor. She has a degree, and especially she's already a politician. But these things that people get it wrong, it's nothing to do with her intelligence
Was
because
that
she,
person even American?
yes, she's American.
Does that person even is that person even able to vote?
Yes, apparently she can vote.
Oh, okay.
But I just think that the IQ between her and Donald Trump, that's hilarious. However, that has nothing to do. And I guess these people with these passionate and these rants, this has nothing to do with the politics. And I just feel like, especially at us in our big ages, we're picking on the jabs of people's individual characters and not what they're doing for their jobs. That's like me going to a Walmart employee because you're mad they can't ring you up and you're talking about that's why you wearing sketches. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about how people look and how they act instead of about them doing the job.
Right, right.
And I'm really kind of baffled by, especially even in just just seeing adults how they're acting and how just because you disagree that that you know you're not intelligent or it's just it's funny. So what do you think? I want to get your honest opinion about intellect and being the president because they're saying that Camilla doesn't have any intellect or IQ wise should be the president, and Donald Trump is a better businessman
I
and
mean, I
he's
agree with that he is a better businessman, but I don't think this she's I don't her intellect is not the problem. It's I'm pretty sure she's a very smart woman. I mean, just to get up there, um, you know, there are some pretty smart people that have been in office. So I think that's just somebody being extremely demeaning, and none of that was necessary to say at all. I mean, state your opinion, but just being rude and hateful is not what people are trying to listen to.
exactly. And I wish this as adults that we put our personal opinions aside and we could actually get into the midst. I just feel like it's so easy in my mind. Like, okay, this is what we need as citizens. This is how we need to do it. Why is it so hard for Congress and these politicians to do it. Why? Because there's bigger agendas. It's not about the little people. It's about covering up your dollars, your tax dollars for yourself, saying that you care about us little people, but you're not.
Mhm.
Because I feel like it's so easy. We've been dealing with crime, poverty, inflation, healthcare. This is nothing new. But the parties put everybody against each other. Either you're red, or you're blue, you're Democrat, or you're Republican. But which one's going to put in the proper policies that's actually going to help American citizens?
Agree.
That's really boss
Agree. At this point, Elmo for president.
Exactly. Listen, my puppy probably can do a better job at being president in either one of these campaigns. These these candidates. Any last words that you think that we need to go and think about when we go to the polls? What do you think?
I think people are just, even you people that don't pray, you better pray and get some kind of direction and just go with your heart, because on this one, we just gonna have to let it decide, um, and vote on the things we can change. So
Exactly.
make an informed decision, go look up those laws. It takes, I mean, if y'all can Google, how tall is Beyonce, you can Google those policies and go learn them before you vote on them. So you're not just voting on anything, and make an informed decision and go do what you're supposed to do. So y'all go vote.
Exactly. Go vote. And if you haven't already voted, you can just look at voting in my area because early voting has ended November 1st if you haven't already voted. So go look at sample ballots in your area. Look at the amendments for your state and see what you're voting on. Read it, understand. And if you don't understand it, I'm pretty sure there's so many AI tools that will break it down for you. Don't just go in there blindsided. And look at your commission and whoever else is on the ballot for Senate. Check them out. See if it's a candidate you view their policies. Look at their policies. It takes a quick Google search. Get the information, print it out before you go, and all this information is online. And if you don't know where to vote, you can look at it, Google it, and it's there. I mean, I really appreciate all the listeners. Thank you for listening to Millennial Intents, Conversations That Matter. And look out for our next episode, Our Body, Our Choice, or My Body, My Choice. It's going to be good. All right, guys. See you next time.